Welcome to Northwest Arkansas. We are here live at the 2025 Lifetime Grand Prix. Stop number 6, the Big Sugar Gravel. And, the story of the weekend so far has been weather. We've been keeping our eye on the weather since probably about Wednesday or Thursday with some impending storms. You can see outside. It's a little bit damp out there. The weather god's not going to smile on our area out here today. So it's going to be an interesting race. So if you've been following along, we are going to do the 50-mile version today. It's a lot of debate back and forth, the final decision coming a little bit earlier this morning, but that decision didn't come lightly, and trying to take into account all the factors, trying to have an exciting finale to the race, and also trying to keep the athletes as safe as they can. So 50 miles is what it's going to be. It's going to be a great race. I'm Bill Ellison. I'm joined here in the studio, Meredith Miller, and we are excited to bring you what is going to be maybe a little bit more of an exciting race than what we anticipated.
We haven't seen a race like this on gravel with these guys and women today, so how they're going to race is going to be really interesting. I'm really excited to see what the tactics are for the day and who goes to the front. We've seen there's Cameron Jones, who the winner of Unbound and the Little Sugar last weekend, just taking the reins and going from the front of the race, for so long. I don't know that he'll be able to do that today with how fast it is, but I don't doubt that he'll try.
Yeah, I think he doesn't know any other way to race than just, kind of crack that throttle and go. And he's such a happy-go-lucky guy. It's fun to talk to him after the race about some of those tactics. And he just wants to race his bike. And, if he sees that guys are easing up and trying to think about a move, he just stands on it, goes to the front. And, he's strong enough that it works. I think I remember at Unbound, he was, for that race at least in particular, he was telling me he was taking in like 150 grams of carbs an hour to just stay on top of the fueling out there. So he's got this endless supply of energy as we're now getting our countdown on the line. So we are just about to get underway. Hard to believe that it seems like just yesterday we were at Sea Otter doing this, and now we're at the end of the season, the final stop of 2025. And just like that, our men are now getting themselves underway here.
Oh, Bill, I can't stop saying it. I'm so excited because it's going to be such a different race than we're used to seeing today. Yeah, these races, these pro racers always go out fast. I mean, when I have started some of these races before myself, I am incredibly impressed with how fast they go out of the gate, even when it's 100 miles or 150 or 200 or whatever it is. And today, I think as soon as the lead vehicles pull out of the way and the race is truly underway, we are going to see someone going to the front of this race, and they're going to lay down the gas right away. I don't know if ever in the history of the Lifetime Grand Prix, which we're in year 4, but as we mentioned, Keegan Swenson has always had this locked up in the past. And this is just such a different way to begin the race today, because normally he's just been able to sit back and kind of, oh boy, coming around the cars there at the start of this race. But, normally he's been able to come in super relaxed and just be like, okay, I mean, he's a competitor, right? He's always going to want to win a race no matter what, even though he didn't have to for the overall series. But today he definitely has his work cut out for him, as he's got, several guys just chomping on, right on his heels to take the overall today. And like I said before, we'll see who has some alliances out there. Keegan has always raced with his teammate Tobin, Ortenblad. Now some other guys who are right behind him, we'll see if they've been able to, talk to other guys in the peloton and say, hey, you're lower down in the standings, or maybe even some people who are in the race today that aren't in the Lifetime Grand Prix, and try to say, hey, let's work together. If you help me, I'll help you, and, either get you in the prize money or help me get up higher in the overall standings. So it's I'm curious to see who is going to be working for who out there today.
And now back to the line here with our women. They're getting their final instructions here, making sure our Bronco Pace vehicle is ready to go. Escort them out of town here, and we'll be down to business relatively quickly. Cecily Decker on the front row there riding for Pas Normal Studios. And Cecily, she's had a great series so far this year. She's really had some phenomenal results. A former skier that came over to bike racing to deal with a bit of a career-ending knee injury on the ski side, but she was your winner at Unbound and second place at Sea Otter. Also had second at Leadville. So non-starter, though, last week at Little Sugar. We know she had a little bit of a back issue.
Right.
So was trying to let that rehab itself, mend itself a little bit. So we'll see if that tactic worked out for her. Obviously, not starting last week kind of plays a significant role in her not contending for the overall lead at this point going into the final race. So,
sure, but also let's call it what it is. I think Sophia has dominated Little Sugar for the last few years.
Yeah, fair enough.
So,
right.
and Cecily does not come from a mountain bike background. As you mentioned, she was a downhill skier, an alpine skier. So let me tell you, her skills, from my experience, any skiers who've come over to cycling, their skills are phenomenal. They just know how to move with the terrain under them, whether it's two wheels or a pair of skis. And so she's an excellent bike handler, but Sophia has dominated Little Sugar. And I think the chances of Cecily beating Sophia at Little Sugar would have been pretty slim. So Cecily made that calculated decision to not start, knowing that today was going to be really important to still maintain that second place overall. And I think it could pay off today. I know she wants to win the race today and to help her maintain that overall second place.
Well, we're watching our women roll out, and today's lead out is brought to you by the Bronco Wild Fund, driving a passion for the outdoors and helping preserve the places we ride. Also, a reminder, today's live coverage is presented by Orange Seal, the sealant trusted by pros to keep them rolling through the toughest terrain. And no better place here than Northwest Arkansas to bring our friends at Orange Seal into the mix. So our women are officially off and rolling. They've got their neutral start on the way out of town here as well. And just like the men, I suspect as soon as the flag drops and we're officially racing, this one's going to go full gas. The question now, and we kind of asked Sophia yesterday on the athlete panel, like, look, you've got this locked up. We know we've got some potential weather coming. Is that going to maybe affect your tactic in this race? Do you really need to go to the well here today just to prove a point really at the end of the day? And she was kind of honest about it. She knew that, a couple years ago she'd been in that situation and, went pretty hard for the first half of the race, then kind of eased up a little bit and tried to soak in the experience here at Big Sugar. And while she enjoyed that, she's a competitor through and through. So I think, you pin a number on, you're going to race your bike, right? That's just kind of how it goes, certainly at the elite level like that. So I think Sophia, as much as some riders want to think she might pull back a little bit and maybe not put herself in the mix. I think she's going to be very much in the mix there today. And maybe some of the other riders can kind of play off of that. With the tactical game out there, with Cecily, with Melissa, with Alexis, all vying to keep themselves on the podium, or in Alexis's case, get on that final podium.
Here we're back to the men. Man, are they going for it. You can see when they're like, their chest is down towards the stem. We see, I think this looks like a little bit of a separation already.
Yeah. Matt Beers obviously in there. The big man out of South Africa. And we wondered how he recovered from his crash and some stitches last week, I believe, on his knee at Little Sugar. He barely made our podium appearance last week because he was trying to get some stitches at the Ready Care. And obviously kind of answers our question. He's feeling pretty good right now as he quickly dispatched. And there was a slightly bigger group there, but it looks like one or two riders falling off the pace as he gave a dig over that climb. So we'll try and identify the rest of these riders, but we don't see the field behind, so we know that's at least a 15, maybe 20-second gap right now by what looks to be about three riders.
But I don't expect the peloton to give them much of a leash today. You can't in a 50-mile race. You obviously have less time to bring back any breaks that go up the road. So I think the peloton is going to keep a tighter leash on anything that does go up the road, or at least they're going to try to keep a tighter leash. So looks like the chase right now is kind of is not really on just yet. We're seeing the guys spread out side to side across the road. That tells me that the pace of the chase group, we're still not seeing them come around that last corner there. So they're not too worried, but which surprises me because this is this with Matt Beers here in the front right now driving this pace. And I'm curious, there were 4 guys in this group, and one dropped off, and I'm curious if that was because he got dropped, or if he was dropping back to maybe help a teammate or a friend or whatever close that gap, because he saw how fast these guys were going and how determined they are to get that gap. So he's like, all right, I've got to go back and help somebody get back up to the front of this race.
Today's race update brought to you by Road ID. So I think that other rider up there, Matt Wilson. Yeah, so Matt Wilson getting himself in the mix out of New Zealand. And Matt was one of the wild cards, right, that made his way into the Grand Prix and showcasing himself as having been a worthy addition. So good to see Matt up there.
Another Kiwi.
Right.
Cam Jones.
There you go.
Caleb Botchers and another Kiwi athlete in the men's field. All 3 of those guys just really performing at the top of their level this year. There's something in the water down in New Zealand, I think.
I'm telling you, you've raced down in you live down there.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I've raced down there a little bit back in the day, and I think it's fair to say that they grow a different breed of bike racer down in New Zealand, and they are hard riders that can handle an amazing amount of different things thrown at them.
So here in the women's race, we're still seeing a few women kind of tailed off the back of this group. Doesn't look like it's too high speed just yet. We'll go around this corner, we'll see it stretch out a little bit more. But at any time you see riders kind of side to side on the road, that tells you that the speed isn't super high pace. But looking now, I believe this is Maud Farrell taking charge at the front of this race. And again, when you see somebody who's like down in the drops, elbows bent, chest closer to the stem, that's an indication that they're going really hard. They're putting a lot of power into the pedals and making a big effort to really ramp up the speed.
Yeah, you can see Maud was just we were losing that camera for a hot second there. She was really kind of digging in there and starting to split things. And now you see things starting to be kind of lined out there at the front, and Still most riders in the mix. A couple you can see in the dust there. So obviously that moisture not tamping everything down, but doing a reasonable job out there of killing that dust just a little bit as we try and looks like trying to figure out. It does look like the women's field, I believe we're looking at right now. So no breakaways just yet in the women's field, as everyone's still all together.
And Maud is someone who's not part of the Lifetime Grand Prix series, so she's here just as a standalone, event today. And she'll have some teammates though, with like a Sarah Sturm, and by teammate I mean that a few of them share some of their bigger sponsors, and so it's not like they're teammates necessarily at every single race all through the year or whatnot, but again, there are certain athletes out here who are forming alliances and will be willing to go to the front for someone else who's maybe in the Grand Prix and helping them with their overall series placing. Here we're back to the men.
We've got a couple, I believe there's some chasers out here right now.
It's Brendan Johnston.
Yeah.
And just trying to get a visual of the second rider, checking that's Kobe Freeburn.
Those two having just a little chat before diving very cautiously into that quick right-left right now. So 2 riders now on the chase. Freeburn taking his pull on the front. Let's see if we can't see the leading trio in front of him. Today's race update brought to you by Road ID. Once again, a reminder, our live coverage today brought to you by Orange Seal, and we are now going to throw to Nat Ross.
Orange Seal out in the field. We are at the tech vehicle, and guess what? Mile 29, Whistling Springs Brewery. There's a sharp right-hand turn that they encounter and a nice downhill of chunk. We can see rounding this corner, these speeds have been about 30 miles an hour. You guys have been tracking it. The highest speeds rolling into this and then positioning into a narrow downhill. And this is that point where they're probably not taking the feeds. Okay, Wilson tosses the bottle. Beers leads him down. Riley Amos, talked to him last night. He was ready to not even take the feeds because he knew this was going to be a sprint. That's quite the gap going into this. These guys have exactly what they need to make it. So if you're closing this gap at this point, you're not stopping in this aid station and you are firing on through. The pace on this pavement and tarmac is a nice reprieve. So Matt grabbing that bottle, perfect time to do it. This is mile 29. This is the business end. Still waiting for that chase to come through. I know we had a local in there, Oakley Griffith, so someone that actually knows the roads is really nice to have out there because this course is pandemonium from this point on. If they're going through and expecting a feed, this is a neutral support, as well as we've had a lot of pro mechanics and Swannies go down into that zone, but they're ready to head to the finish after this. It is such a short, condensed, chaotic race that the racers are taking on the nutrition on their own and have to take care of all the elements. Looks like our chase is quite a ways behind, so somebody up front, if it was Beers or Wilson, because Riley's just sitting in doing his thing, has been putting down some wattage. So the lead moto has gone through for this chase group, and this chase is going to be one long string with several groups coming into it. Orange helmet up in the front, and our 4 riders pacing, one of the ones along with check out Finsty leading this downhill, Griffin in there as well pacing. So 3 riders in this group that know this terrain trying to get away. And here is Keegan and Posse. Really tight corner. You can see Simone going into that. The brakes are on at top of this. The bottom of this feed zone is going to be insane. So they do a sharp left. So let's go back to you, Bill and Meredith.
Today's race update brought to you by Road ID. All right, we're looking back on our women's group right now. One rider there, I believe that's our women's group. One rider just heading directly into the eye of the storm up there.
That is what we have been talking about these past few days with the weather forecasts predicting extreme or severe thunderstorms today, which is why the race was cut from 100 miles to 50 miles for rider safety, making sure everybody out there racing today gets off the course safely. Still trying to get a visual, but this is, I believe, the lead woman going into the Whistling Springs aid station. So this is right around mile 29. So we'll see what happens as the women come through this aid station. This is a fast descent. Typically in the past, you can see how the speeds are coming fast, almost missing this turn here coming into the aid station.
All right, we're actually going to throw it out to Lauren Hall for an update out there on the course.
Bill Meredith, we are here at the feed zone, Whistling Springs, and just over my cameraman's shoulder is the storm coming in. You can hear thunder in the distance, and we know that these women are going to come through here at lightning speed. We just had the men roll through. You can hear how fast they are, the gravel on those tires. They're flying, and I think you guys were actually talking that they were doing around 23 miles an hour for the men's race. That is unheard of. They are blazing through here, and also the talk out here, people are really liking this dynamic of a 50-mile race. It changes everything. The shake-up, it's great. And some of the athletes really loved it pre-race, and some were really, really nervous, and we're out in the race here. Our lead moto coming through right now. Women are flying through, not even taking a bottle right here. Maud Farrell leading this charge. Sophia Gomez-Vichafanye grabbing a bottle. Melissa missing her bottle. Lauren Stevens right behind her. Single file indicates fast racing, high speed, some grab, some not. And it's interesting to see who grabs and who doesn't. More coming through. Wow, wow, wow. So fast. Ellen Campbell just off the back right there. This is a dynamic race. I love the technicality of all of this and how this is going to play out for the Lifetime Grand Prix standings today. Guys, back to you.
Oh my gosh, you guys, that was, let me tell you, a feed zone is always crazy, but a feed zone at this pace on gravel roads is also, it just adds a whole nother element, dynamic to it. I'm glad to see everybody got through safely, because it's not unusual to see crashes going through the feed zone, but we got everyone in and out quickly here, and the women are absolutely flying.
Well, we've got another guest in our studio now here as we get down to the closing a little bit of the final stop of the 2025 Lifetime Grand Prix, round number 6 here at Big Sugar Gravel. We've got none other than the president of Lifetime Events, Kimo Seymour, in here with us today. Kimo, it's you opened the door a minute ago, and it looks a little rainy out there, man.
Well, it's everything we expected. You know, we had to make some adjustments today. Good morning, Meredith. Good morning, Bill, by the way. Had to make a real tough call this morning, knowing that we had some pretty severe weather coming in this afternoon to obviously shorten the event, and it's coming to reality here. I just came in from the finish line. It's absolutely dumping rain. You can see Matt Beers here off the front. He is riding into that rainstorm that's kind of that cell that's moving over this area, and it was just going to be a little too risky to have 800 to 1,000 100-mile riders, plus all of our pro athletes, obviously, but especially those age group athletes way out 30, 40 miles north of town when a storm like this rolls through. It's just too risky, and we had to make the safety call, which isn't always the fun call to make, but we think we made the right decision, and here it is. It just showed up.
Yeah, I think, a lot of the pro athletes are used to probably riding in adverse conditions. They race so often that you can't avoid it. So they're used to it. But as you said, I mean, the age groupers are not used to this. And most days they'd look outside and they're like, well, I'm not going to go out in this, where the pros are like, I've got to train today. So, it is what it is. But here we are with the women's race, and this is Melissa Rollins and I believe Gwendolyn Gibson off the front of this race. I believe that's Maddie Monroe, sorry.
Yeah.
Taking the rate, they don't want to sit in anymore. And so with Melissa, who is in the Lifetime Grand Prix, sitting third overall, 2 points behind Cecily Decker, I'm curious to see what's going to happen behind, because Cecily cannot, here we go. She cannot let Melissa up the road. And this is, I think, what we're going to see all the way to the finish line right now is Melissa and Cecily, they're marking each other. They're just waiting for one or the other to attack, and to see who might be the strongest one up the climb. Sure enough, that was Cecily closing that gap. And she's like, oh, no, you don't, Melissa. I'm bringing you right back. And Maddie still on the front, head down, just going for it.
Looking again at Matt Beers, and I'll tell you what, looks like he's got that grin going on. He's looking over, having a little chat with the moto driver there. Again, he's very, very close to the finish, probably about a mile or so from the finish right now, just making his way up that final climb actually right now. So he's going to be dumping out to the line here momentarily as we look back on our women's field, and they too have ridden their way into the eye of the storm, and things starting to get a little single file as the riders try and take advantage of the chaos that this storm is bringing and try and maybe create a little bit of separation there.
And we're seeing Lauren De Crescenzo on the front, which at this point in the race, she is not a sprinter, and she will admit that every day, every minute of the race. But so it is to her advantage that she goes to the front, really tries to string things out, maybe forms a little bit of a break, has some riders that she can work with into the finish line. She is likely not going to beat anyone in a sprint, so the fewer riders that come to the finish line with her, the better for her. And Lauren De Crescenzo is currently sitting 9th overall, and those top 9 in the women's race are all still pretty close, and anyone from 2nd to 9th can still finish within that top 5 to get that automatic qualification for next year.
Yeah, so many layers to this one today. I kind of love it. It's a very tactical battle, and back there in the women's race, again, we saw some attacks earlier trying to suss things out. But right now we're back on Matt Beers as he's now officially up into town here. Looking at maybe this is one of our chasers, I believe, that we've got eyes on at the moment. Also down there, just about 1.5 miles from the finish there, just one final climb to go up the hill into town proper. So we try and get our eyes on that number. But now we're going to go to Matt Beers because he's now within the fencing here in the final straight. So the man out of South Africa had a rough day last weekend at Little Sugar, but he's going to make amends here today in Big Sugar Gravel. Your winner, the final stop of the Grand Prix this year, Matt Beers across the line. And I don't think he minds getting soaked by champagne, just blending in with a little bit of rainwater there. A great ride by Matt Beers in just about 2 hours and 11 minutes or so. So about 23 or so miles an hour as he runs for cover just around the corner there in the press area. So Matt Beers, a phenomenal ride out there from very early on. He had the company initially of Riley Amos and Matt Wilson, but both those two riders fell off the pace somewhere along the way. Matt Beers with the solo win, and we're now looking at our chase group. And these guys are about 1.5 miles out. We believe there's actually one rider in front of them. We're not sure who that one chaser is, but we see the field coming. We know there's one chaser a little bit farther ahead. We're going to try and identify them as they make their way to the line, as we're getting another look at Matt Beers there. All smiles in the media tent, finally locking up a big win here to close out his 2025 Lifetime Grand Prix Series. So we believe that's going to be Riley Amos getting up there for second spot.
I think he was third, actually.
I think
there was
Matt
somebody
Wilson.
else was there with him.
There was the one rider that was ahead. So, yeah, we'll try and get those results to you as quickly as possible. And
but again, those finishing results matter for the day, for the one event at Big Sugar today. But then we also are looking at the results for the overall. So with Cam finishing in front of Keegan, Toby, and Simone, I believe that should put him in the overall lead of the series.
All right, we're going to go back to our man Nat Ross at the finish line for the interviews of the men's race.
First of all, I didn't want to, there was two gravel descents right in the beginning, and I didn't want to be near the back on that. I just absolutely centered on the front and made sure I was right at the front. And then, Cam threw a few attacks right in the beginning, and then I went with Matthew Wilson and Riley Amos, and the elastic broke on Little Sugar Road, and that was probably about 5 miles in or so. And I said we just keep it on, man. And it slowly went out, slowly. And I said we just need to bank on them kind of negative racing, because they're all going to look at each other with the points and stuff. And there was one moment where we thought we would get caught again, got pretty close. And then, but I know, if you just keep the pressure on, you should. But we had a great cohesion between Riley, Matt, and myself, and it was a privilege being with those boys.
You're trying to, is that Lauren DiCrescenzo, I think, on the front, maybe?
I think you're right.
Just watching her body language and her pedaling style, that definitely looks like her. And she's not really attacking, just kind of setting the tempo right now, trying to dig in hard, but still those four riders still together. I believe that's going to be Sofia Gomez Vichafanye on her wheel. You could see, I think that was Lauren Stevens maybe taking a look back over her shoulder there. And that chase group, I mean, they look so close, but here goes the move by Stevens. So just as they hit the bottom pitch of the very final climb here, as they go under the path, Lauren Stevens throwing down a big move. We're going to see if this does any kind of damage. Sophia now taking over the pacemaking. So Sofia Gomez Vichafanye looking like maybe she's getting a little bit of daylight here, Meredith.
Yeah, I think you're right. Obviously, we know Sophia is on good form right now. She always is. Coming off a big win at Little Sugar last weekend, just absolutely dominating that race almost from beginning to end. Looks like Lauren Stevens is trying to get back on the wheel of Sophia. Again, Sophia already has the overall series locked up, so her win today is a great win, but it's meaningful for the day, not the series. Lauren Stevens behind her is not in the Grand Prix, so again, she's looking for a result on the day. that won't impact the overall series.
And look at the gap they have pulled out right now. So the very big gap. Sofia Gomez Vichafanye, your leader, she's in the red and the blue with that white helmet as she makes her way up. If that camera spins around, we know that this terrain is going to level out here any moment. The grade right now, only about 3% maybe at most before it levels out for maybe a block. The road will bend to the right. And, maybe Sophia, you wonder if she caught word that her teammate Matt Beers took a win. So this could be a wonderful day for the Specialized squad. And, excuse me, what an exclamation point on the overall Lifetime Grand Prix series here if Sofia Gomez Vichafanye can take out the final win while holding on to yet another overall series title here. And I'll tell you, Lauren Stevens given everything she can, but she's just not making up any real estate right now. She's staying just close enough that Sophia's continuing to look back under her shoulder. She knows she's there. She can probably hear her back there for that matter. So Sophia, again, looking back, she knows she can't give up. She wants to take a deep breath. She wants to kind of reset for just a second there as she makes that right-hander. Now she's going to make a left turn onto Main Street right now. So she's going to be able to see the finish line as she begins her acceleration. I'll tell you what, she's starting to pull out a little more gap. You've got just this tiny little upgrade here before it levels out again and almost downhill to the line. And Sofia Gomez Vichafanye, she is going to the well for everything she's got right now. She's just about to come inside the fencing. So the final couple hundred meters, and Sofia Gomez Vichafanye looks like she is going to cap off the 2025 a Lifetime Grand Prix with a very emphatic win here. So Sofia Gomez Vichafanye will be your women's champion here in the final stop of the Lifetime Grand Prix here at Lifetime Big Sugar Gravel, presented by Kenetik.
That was a fantastic ride by Sophia, followed by Lauren Stevens there, and the group coming in for the sprint. So hard to see who it was coming in. We've got to wait to see how the finish happened between Melissa and Cecily, but you can see the pain on Sophia's face right there.
Today's leaderboard is brought to you by Road ID.
Both of those riders absolutely incredible at taking long going from the long distance and being out alone on the roads, and they're used to these hard efforts at the end of the day.
Well, I'll tell you what, we are going to move over to the finish line with Lauren Hall for our rider interviews.
I thrive in chaos, and with the uncertainty, are we racing 100, are we racing 50? Although I was praying we were going to do the 50, I thought it would just deliver some really exciting racing. And yeah, it was chaos for 50 miles, attacks going left and right, and came down to the wire.
Now let's take a look at our Lifetime Grand Prix final standings for the men, presented by Kenetik. With a big push on the final day, Cam Jones takes home top honors in first place. Simone Pilot in second. Toby Rode coming home in third place. Keegan Swenson, the multi-time winner of the Lifetime Grand Prix, comes home in fourth this year. Matt Beers in fifth place. Alexi Vermeulen in sixth place. We had a two-way tie for seventh, but Andrew Lesprance wins that tiebreaker to come home in seventh. Braden Lang in eighth. Brendan Johnston in ninth, and Cole Patton rounds out your top 10. Let's take a look at our Lifetime Grand Prix final standings for our women, presented by Kenetik. Once again, Sofia Gomez Vichafanye tops the list, taking the overall win. Cecily Decker comes home in second. Melissa Rollins rounds out your top three. In fourth, Alexis Scarda. Fifth place goes to Cecile Lejeune. In sixth, Lauren DiCrescenzo. In seventh, breaking a three-way tie, because today is the tiebreaker, Courtney Sherwell. In eighth, Hannah Otto. In ninth, Haley Preen. And in 10th place, Sarah Lang. A big thanks to our friends at Orange Seal for bringing the live coverage of our event out here. Some wonderful coverage throughout the season. We want to thank Orange Seal for being a big part of bringing that to your screens.